Then we do come across shorthand operators. What are the different shorthand operators that I can have? The different shorthand operators that I can have are plus equals, then I can have minus equals, then I can have a star equals, I can have a slash equals, or I can have a modulo equals. What are these shorthand operators? How should I make use of them? Say for example, there may be a number of situations where I would like to make use of something like a equals a plus 1. That is, say for example, wherever I had to have something like a equals a plus 1, I can simply say that it is a plus equals 1. This is the way to make use of a simple operation called a shorthand operator. Now let us have a sample program that demonstrates a shorthand operator. It is used to perform mathematical operations at which the result or output can affect on operands. To start with, it has a main function which declares two variables like a and b, which are defined values 18 and 4 respectively. We try to have the value of a printed, it gets printed as 80. Then we try to have the value of b printed, which is eventually 4. Then when I say b plus equals a, what it does actually means is b equals b plus a. Then when I try to printf the value of b, it gets printed as 22. Now the same thing can be made use for a minus equals, a star equals, a forward slash equals, or a modulo equals. That is, whenever I make use of b star equals a, what I try to mean is b equals b star a. That is how we would try to make use of shorthand operators. Then we move towards the next category of operators, what we do call as unary operators. What do you mean by unary operators? Operators thus far what we have visited are all binary operators, which means that for this operator to work on, it requires at least two operands, or it needs exactly two operands to work on, by which they are all classified as binary operators. But now we have an operator which is termed to be unary, which means that it is enough that I can have only one operand for this operator to work on. What are examples of those unary operators? Plus plus and minus minus are examples of unary operators. When I say a plus plus, what does that I exactly mean? I mean that a plus plus is something equivalent to a equals a plus 1. Now let us have a simple program that demonstrates unary operators. These unary operators operate on a single operand. Therefore, this operator is called as a unary operator. It may be either used to increase or to decrease the value of the variable by 1. So let us have a sample program that gets us to know about unary operators. As like any other program, this usually starts with a main function. It declares a value a with value 4 and it declares a variable b, both are of type integers. Now I try to have a printing statement which prints the value of a, and occasionally this gets printed as 4. When I say a plus plus, I try to increment the value of a by 1. But making use of these operators have more significance to the place where they are present with respect towards the operand. If they happen to appear after the operand, they are termed to be post increment or decrement operators. Whereas if they appear before the operand, they are termed to be pre-increment or decrement operators. In our case, we have something like a plus plus, which is termed to be a post increment operator. So whenever I printf a, it prints as 5. Then I have something like plus plus a, which is a pre-increment, and when I try to print the value of a, it gets printed as 6. So these are simple examples of how to have increment and decrement done. It can be also done in some other steps like b equals minus minus a. What do you think would happen here? That is, minus minus appears before a, which means that it is a pre-decrement operator. That is, before the value of a gets assigned inside b, I would like to decrement the value of a. The value of a before this happened to be 6. So, a decrement happens before assignment, which means that a gets diminished to a value of 5 before it gets moved into b. That is why in the next printing statement it gets printed as 5 against a and 5 against b. The next statement says b equals a plus plus. Imagine the value right now at a is 5, and now the expression is b equals a plus plus, which means that you are going to have a post increment operator. That is, the value of the present value of a is moved into b, only then the value of a gets incremented. Therefore, when I try to print the value of a, it gets printed as 6, but when I try to print the value of b, it is still 5. Now I would say b plus plus. When I try to print the value of b now, it happens to be printed as 6. So this is the way in which you can make use of unary operators in a C program. I tell you again, this is used to increment or decrement the value of a variable by just 1. That is the first and foremost point that you need to understand. Number 2, it can be either pre or post depending on the position of the appearance of your operator. If the operator precedes your operand, it is a pre-increment or pre-decrement operator. If it succeeds your operand, it happens to be post-increment or post-decrement operator. But in any magnification, it magnifies the value of the variable by only 1. Then we do have another variety of an operator called as a conditional operator. What is a conditional operator? A conditional operator is often also called as a ternary operator. Why is it called as a ternary operator? It makes use of at least 3 operands to work on, because of which it is termed as a ternary operator. It is widely used to execute a condition in either true part or in a false part. The logical or relational operator can be used to check these conditions also. Let us have a sample C program which makes use of these conditional operators. Say I have a normal procedure which is used to have my files included, then I have my main function within which I declare 2 variables of type integer, out of which b is assigned a value 3 and a is assigned a value 5. I go out and print some statement like a is less than b question mark, which means that I am going to test a against b. How can I have this checked out? I have a simple condition like a less than b within a bracket, which means that I am checking the condition, which is soon followed by a question mark operator, and there are 2 sequences of action that are about to happen either on the true part or on the false part, which are being separated by a colon, which means that this entire statement can be read as if a less than b, and if this condition happen to be true, you print yes. If this condition were not true, you please print no. This is how we should read the entire statement. And the statement is like this: within brackets you have the condition checked, have a question mark, then have your true part separated with a colon, have your false part. This is the entire construct of a conditional operator. In our case, if I say a less than b question mark printf yes colon printf no, and the values of a were supplied to be 5 and 3, then a is not less than b, by which the false part gets executed and you have a no printed on your screen. This is the use of having a conditional operator. The next thing that comes into our way happens to be a bitwise operator. A bitwise operator can be either a left shift operator or a right shift operator. You might ask me about the significance of these bitwise operators. The significance of these bitwise operators lies in the manipulation of data at the bit level. We can have manipulations at bit by bit. Now, these bitwise operators can be directly applied towards either characters, shorts, integers or long. A simple example of making use of a left shift operator and a right shift operator is, I have a value in decimal number. I do not exactly have the arithmetic operator in place by which I can straightly divide a number by 2. What is that I can do otherwise to divide the number by 2? Imagine everything is in an 8-4-2-1 format, where 8 gets represented as 1, 0, 0 and 0. I want to diminish the value of 8 by a factor of 2. What is that I can do? I can simply right shift the bits by 1 bit, by which it becomes diminished by a factor of 2. This is how I make use of these right shift operators. So, when you shift a number with correspondence to its bits to the right hand side, the value gets decremented by 2, or it is diminished by 2 rather, and if you try to shift the bits towards the left hand side, it gets magnified by a factor of 2. So, when you want to divide a number by 2, you right shift it. When you want to multiply a number by 2, you shift it towards its left, but by exactly 1 bit. 1 bit shift gets you the value either diminished or magnified by a factor of 2. These are the basics of the various operators what we have in C programming.